Women and Brahmacharya. An aspirant writes, I would like to know whether the same theory regarding the formation of Veerya and loss of the same holds good in the case of women also. Are they actually affected to the same extent as men? The question is an important and pertinent one. Yes, indulgence in the sexual act is exhausting to the female system and a drain upon the vitality as in man. The nervous strain it imposes on the system is very great indeed. The female gonads, the ovaries corresponding to the testes in the males, produce, develop and mature precious, vital force like semen. This is the ovum. Though the woman does not actually lose this out of her body, as in the case of semen in man, yet, due to the sexual act, it leaves the ovaries and is taken up in the process of conception to form the embryo. And one knows only too well what a strain and drain on strength childbearing is to a woman. Repeated depletion of this force and the strain of childbirth makes wrecks of healthy ladies, and works havoc with their strength, beauty and grace as well as their youth and mental power. Eyes lose the lustre and sparkle that are indicative of the inner forces. The intense sensuous excitement of the act shatters the nervous system and causes debility too. Their system being more delicate and high-strung, females are often more affected than men. Women should preserve their precious vital force. The ovum and the hormones secreted by the ovaries are very essential for the maximum physical and mental well-being of women. Women also should observe the vow of celibacy. They also can remain as Nashtik Brahmacharinis like Mirabai and devote themselves to the service and devotion of God. Or they can do Brahmacharya like Gargi and Sulabha. They will be styled as Brahmacharinis, inquirers of Brahman, if they adopt this path. Grihesthadhaminis or householders among women should observe Pativratadharma or the vow of chastity and should keep Savitri, Ansuya, as their ideal. They should see Lord Krishna in their husbands and realize God, like Laila in Majnu. They also can practice all the kriyas such as asanas and pranayams. They should do vigorous sankirtan, japa and prayer daily in their houses. Through bhakti, they can easily destroy passion, because by nature they are devotional. Many women of yore had done miraculous deeds and shown to the world the power of chastity. Nalini, by the power of chastity, stopped the rising of the sun to save her husband's life. Ansuya turned the Trimurtis, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheswara, into babies when they wanted nirvana bhiksha. It is through the power of chastity only that she was able to turn the great deities into babies. Savitri brought back the life of Satyavan, her husband, from the noose of Yam, by her chastity. Such is the power of chastity or Brahmacharya. Women who lead an ideal householder's life with chastity can also become like Ansuya, Nalini or Savitri. Brahmacharinis, ancient and modern. In olden days, there were Brahmacharinis in India. They were Brahmavadinis, they discoursed on Brahman. They did not wish to lead the life of Grihesthadhaminis devoted to a householder's duties. They served the rishis and sages in their hermitages and did Brahmavichara or enquiry of Brahman. King Janashriti placed his daughter at the service of Rishi Raikwa. You will find this in the Chandogya Upanishad. Sulabha was a very learned lady. She was born in a royal family. She was a brahmacharini. She was instructed in the religion of emancipation. She observed the practice of asceticism. She was firm in the practices that belonged to the mode of life she led. She was steady in her vows. She never uttered a word without reflecting on its propriety. She was a yogini. She led the life of a sannyasini. She appeared before Janaka in his court and had a great discussion with him on Brahma Vidya, or the science of the self. Gargi was also a Brahmacharini. She also was a highly cultured lady. She also had a lengthy discussion with Yajnavalkya on Brahma Vidya. The dialogue between them comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In Europe also there were many women who were celibate and who dedicated their lives entirely to severe austerity, prayer and meditation. They had their own hermitages. In India, even at the present moment, there are educated women who lead the life of Brahmacharinis. They do not wish to marry. This is due to the force of good samskaras of previous births. They give education to the girls in schools. They give free tuition privately to poor girls and train them in sewing and other household works. They study religious books and practice meditation in the morning and in the evening. They do kirtan. They keep a daily spiritual diary. They conduct satsanga classes and kirtan among women. They train girls in the practice of asanas and pranayam. They give discourses on the Gita and the Upanishads. They deliver lectures on the religious subjects in English, Sanskrit and Hindi. During holidays and on important occasions, they hold religious conferences for ladies on a grand scale for mass spiritual awakening. Sometimes they visit nearby villages and distribute medicines freely to the poor. They are equipped with the knowledge of first aid, homeopathy, allopathy and the biochemical system of medicine. They are trained in nursing the sick. There is a highly educated Brahmacharini, who is well versed in Sanskrit, English and Hindi, who is the head of an institution for girls. She maintains a free private school also for poor girls at her own expense. This is a very noble service indeed. Such girls and women are really a blessing to India. They lead a life of purity and self-sacrifice. They enjoy bliss, prosperity and renown here and will also attain the immortal abode of supreme peace hereafter. India is in need of more Brahmacharinis of this description who can dedicate their lives to service, meditation and prayer. There was a Maharani in the erstwhile United Provinces who wore simple dress, ate simple food, served sadhus and poor people and always lived amongst sannyasins. She had a sound knowledge of the scriptures and she did regular meditation and prayer. She observed Mauna or the vow of silence for months together and spent some time in seclusion and ruled her state also. There is an educated woman who is an MBBS. Her husband is holding a good position. She treats the patients freely. She does not charge any fees for visiting. She does very good service to the society. She is not a job hunter. She is free from greed. She does medical service for the purification of her heart. She regards medical service of the poor people as worship of God. She looks after the house and serves her husband. She studies religious books and spends some time in meditation, worship and prayer. She is an ideal woman who leads a glorious and pious life. Loose life is not freedom. The world is in dire need of such ideal women. I wish that the world may abound with such glorious women. I do not condemn women. I do not oppose giving them education and freedom. I have the highest veneration for women. I adore them as devis or goddesses. But, I am not in favor of such freedom for women as will ruin them. I am in favor of such education and culture as will make them immortal and glorious, as will make them ideal women like Sulabha, Meera and Maitreyi, like Savitri and Damayanti. This is what I want. This is what everybody would like. Loose life is not perfect freedom. Some women of India have ruined themselves by taking advantage of this false freedom. There is no limit to the freedom, which the so-called educated woman enjoys now. This freedom has caused many homes to be wrecked. It has created disorders in society. It has brought shame on many respectable families. The girls, in their insatiable craving for freedom, have overstepped the limit and lost that priceless possession which the women of the past could keep untarnished. By mixing with men freely, woman loses her dignity, modesty, feminine grace, and the sanctity of her person and character. A woman who mixes freely with men cannot preserve her chastity for long. There can be, and there have been, exceptions. A woman who mixes with men freely in public life and yet remains pure must be certainly superhuman. An ordinary woman with her natural passion will soon succumb. Human nature will fulfill itself. What is there in a woman's life if her purity is lost? She is only a living corpse if there is no purity, although she may be rolling in wealth and moving in high circles in society. Promiscuous mixing will lead to disastrous results. Even rishis and yogins who are clad in rags, who live on roots in seclusion, will be pulled down by the dark forces of nature if they are careless. Then what to speak of women who eat daily dainties and sweetmeats, who are clad in perfumed velvet and silk with lace borders, who are given to too much mixing, who do not lead a life of self-control, who have no religious training and discipline, who have no idea of the inner life and the religion of emancipation. O wise reader, I leave this for your own consideration, reflection, cogitation and deliberation. Women should not do anything that can bring dishonor or infamy on them and their family, and a blot on their character. Without character, a man or a woman is considered as dead while living. Women should be very careful and cautious when they move in society. They should avoid too much talking, too much mixing, guffaw and giggling. They should always walk in a dignified manner and not with the swinging of the hips. They should never look at men with a flitting gesture. Clothes should not be too tight or revealing. Abandon makeup. A call to spiritual life. O Devis, do not waste your lives in fashion and passion. Open your eyes. Walk in the path of righteousness. Preserve your pativrata dharma. See divinity in your husband. Study the Gita, the Upanishads, Bhagavata and Ramayana. Become good grihesthadharminis and brahmavacharinis. Bring forth many Gaurangas. The destiny of the world is entirely in your hands. You are holding the master key of the world. Open the door of Elysian bliss. Bring Vaikuntha in your home. Train your children in the spiritual path. Sow the spiritual seed when they are young. O Devis of the world! Should you not strive for the higher life, the grand, the sublime, the only real life in the soul? Is it sufficient if you are satisfied with the petty material necessities of life on earth? Do you remember what Maitreyi said to Yajnavalkya? What shall I do with the wealth of this whole world if thereby I would not become immortal? Said she to her husband. How many ladies of this world will be bold enough to assert this wise saying of the Upanishadic ideal of a woman? To chain themselves with the bondage of samsara is not the birthright of the mothers and sisters of the world. To get stuck up in family, children and relatives is not the ideal of courageous and discriminative women. Every mother of the world should realize her responsibility to awaken herself, her children, her family and her husband, to the true light and splendor of spiritual life. What a glorious mother was Madalsa! Did she ask her children to study up to the postgraduate examination, and then seek for some employment? Suddhosi, Buddhosi, Niranjanosi, Samsara Maya Parivajitosi, you are pure, you are consciousness, you are taintless, You are devoid of the maya of samsara. Such was the Advaitic instruction which Madalsa gave to her children when she rocked them in the cradle. How many mothers of the present-day world have got the fortune to teach their children such profound knowledge? On the other hand, the present-day mothers would try to crush the spiritual tendency of their children even if it is found in them in a microscopic state. What a sad and pitiable condition! Wake up, O mothers, sisters! Wake up from your deep sleep. Recognize your responsibility. Spiritualize yourselves. Spiritualize your children. Spiritualize even your husbands, for you are the makers of the family. Remember how Chudala illumined her husband. You are the makers of the nations. You are the builders of the world. Therefore, spiritualize yourselves. Assert in yourselves the spirit of Sulabha, Maitreyi, Gargi. Do not be cowardly. Come out of your fleshy homes, the homes of delusion, the homes of vanity. Be you all real sannyasinis and bring real glory, real greatness, for that is real boldness and courage, that is real wisdom and understanding. A woman is not a woman if she is devoid of spiritual fire in her, if she is ignorant of a higher life in the soul. A woman's duty is not merely family, her duty is also to transcend the family. Her duty does not lie in sands, bangles, jackets, powders and scents. Her duty does not lie in getting employment for her children. Her duty is also concerned with the self, the Atman, the Brahman. Such a woman is a real symbol of God. She is to be adored,